And good evening, everybody. This is John Burgos, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And if you look at Kelly's background, where she's sitting, that dreamy type of space, that magical type of realm, that's just prepare for that. Not only in the information that we're going into and what Kelly's going to share, but into your own psyche, into your own curiosity, into a sense of wonder that gets invoked in these worlds that we get to coexist in. And we can really become masterful at them with a few tools, some awarenesses and practice. And Kelly brings that and so much more to the table. And I'm so excited because this topic is so near and dear to me. And I'm so fascinated with dream interpretation, what goes on in that psyche, to going into those other realm spaces and really invoking the intelligence that is always there for us every time, and the opportunities that exist with that information, with those dreams. It's wonderful. So again, this is gonna be a fun call. You're in for an amazing treat if you've never experienced Kelly before. Kelly's on a mission. She's on a mission to awaken the world to the power of dreams. And she's a CARTA award-winning author of The Hero's Journey Dream Oracle Cards and app. She's a certified clinical hypnotherapist whose unique approach to dream therapy led her to become a trusted advisor, coach, and consulting, enriching the lives of thousands of individuals, including Fortune 500 executives, UN ambassadors, celebrities, inner city kids, stay-at-home moms. And she's an inspirational speaker and workshop facilitator. Now, her approach to dreams is both reverent and irreverent. I love that, which may account for why she's rumored to be the love grandchild of Carl Jung and Lucille Ball. That's so epic. Such a great description. Kelly, welcome to tonight's show. Thank you so much for joining us here on BTO.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for having me on BTO. This feels so dreamy. I've been thinking about this and dreaming about it for so long, and so far the reality is even better than the dream. Thank you so much for the beautiful, deep, luscious space that you hold and that you provide. It feels so wonderful to be in your space and in the space with your community. There's definitely a high vibe tribe going on here, and I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Oh, without a doubt, there's a high vibe tribe, and there's spaciousness that goes on. And again, and you teach us how to access spaciousness in different ways. How did you get into this?
Oh, wow. So the simple way to say it is I had a partner in crime and in shine, I like to say. My sister Shannon and we used to tandem dream as little kids. So that means we would be in similar dreamscapes at the same time with one another, and we would confirm it when we'd wake up over breakfast. We'd talk about our dreamscapes, and it was a phenomenon that seemed really normal and ordinary to both of us. It's special and fun, but I didn't realize it was something that not everybody was doing. And so I think because I had somebody to share this fascination with, it was a daily adventure, a nightly adventure to look forward to dreams. And so I think that early fascination just had me be extra interested in it. And I think from being a little kid, I mean, my first remembered dream, I was about 5 years old. It was about a witch, and she was very scary, and she was chasing me around a castle. That was my very first really deeply remembered dream. But many dreams throughout junior high school, and then I went into Hollywood, and for like almost my whole 20s, we could say those were my dark ages, because I mostly didn't pay attention to my dreams. I was paying attention to the outer dream only, and I was pursuing acting and producing, but mostly acting. And my world became very external. And it wasn't until I had this quarter life crisis where I had become so externalized, and so my inner world had become so vacant that I literally didn't want to be on the planet anymore, and was in such a dark night of the soul. When I got when I decided if I'm going to be on the planet, I needed to hear the voice of God again. I needed to get my dreams back. I came back into dreaming with a fervor, kind of like that Joni Mitchell song, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone." And Pave Paradise put up a parking lot. It's like I didn't know how lucky I was to have such a vivid dream life, and until I almost lost it. And I know this sounds dramatic, but I feel like in doing that, I almost lost myself. I remember walking around just feeling vacant, just feeling empty, feeling like I even wrote a poem back then about being a donut, being like a frosty donut that had all the right things going on the outside, but there was like, you could stick your hand right through the middle of me. There was nothing there. And so when I started to get into therapy and started to pursue spiritual modalities, the dreams started to come back, but they came back with, they weren't so pleasant, let's just say, but I was grateful that they were coming back. And there was a therapist that was great. She told me a nightmare is an unfinished dream, and be grateful that you at least had the dream. Now you can finish it. You have directorial input over your dream. So that one thing, a nightmare is an unfinished dream. You can finish the dream. You're the director of your dream. That was life-changing for me. So I really dove in and started to work on my dreams deliberately, and started to notice the alchemy and the empowerment that came from that. So I became a therapist soon thereafter, a hypnotherapist, and it's been 20 plus years, and this is now my life. And there's been so much magic and alchemy, and I'm grateful to be on this journey, and to have written books, and have my life kind of, I feel like I've painted myself into a dream corner where everything I do in the waking life and night, everything is dream centric, dreamville everywhere I go, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Amazing. I've heard you say or allude to saying that dreams are always good. They're always pointing towards something good.
Yes, exactly. I don't believe that our dreams are ever trying to torture us. They're never just trying to hurt us or make us feel bad. If we look at our dreams opportunistically, and I mean opportunistically in a really positive way, like look at it as if your dream has a gift for you and it's yours. You have to go out and get it. I heard about this tribe off the coast of Malaysia, an relatively ancient tribe called the Sonoy. And when I found out about them and their dream practices, and heard that they were some of the most enlightened people that ever walked the planet, and one of their attributes was that they paid attention to dreams, and they believed that the nightmares are happening to empower them, and that you're supposed to ask the scary characters that show up in your dreams, or the adversaries, what is your gift for me? And when you approach a nemesis from the perspective of, I know you've got a gift for me, so let's just cut the chase. What is it? What's your gift? It reveals itself, and then you get it, and you get to move on. Instead of spending years running from it and becoming really good at evading it and learning how to hide, it's like become really good at saying, what's the gift here? What's the gift here? What's the gift here? So I decided I was going to take that on, because I found that early when I got my dreams back, that when I went into my dreams looking for the gift, I always found it. So yes, every dream, no matter what it is, has a gift for us. Every dream is all about our health, healing, and wholeness. That's what I believe. That's my experience.
I've had similar experiences. I went through a period, I was about 12, 13 years ago, where I was dreaming, it's like my psychic channels just flooded open, and I started seeing energy, and I started having all these psychic hits, and everything was coming alive in me, like energy flowing. And my dreams were so active, and I'd have guides come to me in dreams, showing me things, revealing things. But I started having nightmares also. But in the nightmares, it was different. But when you talked about having directorial control over the dreams, I realized that I can go in and direct a dream. And a mantra for me in dreams, because I grew up very religious and very scared of certain outcomes and all that energies. And my mantra in my dreams was, the light always wins. So anytime something was chasing me or something scary, I'd turn around.
Wow, I love
I'm not
that.
running anymore. The light always wins. And I'd look at whatever it was that was so terrifying, and it would dismantle. And I felt like a sense of wholeness or completeness. It's like the dreamscape would just collapse, or the nightmare would collapse, which
That's
was
amazing.
amazing.
And I
Yes.
love how literally, if people are watching, you can see this light that's coming over John. That's like,
There we
it's almost like you're talking.
go.
It's happening. It's happening now. The light is winning. The light. It's beautiful. Don't change it. It's happening as we speak. We're in a collective dream right now, actually. So this is part of the dream. John gets engulfed by the light, and we all go with him. That's what's happening.
but
But it's
but the
so
awareness
powerful.
of
The
that.
light always wins. That's great. I've developed an interesting way of looking at even the dark characters in dreams. I mean, of course, we could say there are some freaky things, there are some hitchhikers, there are some energies that we just don't want. But I feel like I've become pretty adamant about the fact that there is gold in everything and everyone. Nothing's left out of that. And I'm almost like a champion for those shadow characters, because I know they're the unsung heroes that just haven't had a chance yet to get cleaned up. I mean, imagine if you were shoved in a closet for 20 years and you weren't fed and you weren't cared for, and all of a sudden you couldn't take it anymore and you popped out. It'd be like, uh, who is this scary character? Let's
Yeah.
get rid of him. But it's like, no, I've got gifts to give. I just need a shower, and I need someone to feed me and love me and heal me. And I promise you, I have something to contribute if you give me a chance. So that's how I feel about all my scary dreams. And I've had some really incredibly scary ones. And I thought, okay, the rule is true for everything except for this. And I thought, no, let me see. Oh yeah, and even in the most horrific demons, I've found that there's a love impulse. There's a contributory impulse if given a chance. So
That's wonderful. Now, how's the work that you work with dreams? Is it similar? Do you advise people to go into a lucid dreaming state? Do you ask them to bring consciousness into dreamscape where they can remember how to work with outcomes or the different
Yeah,
characters?
both and I would say, so one of the things I want to talk about at some point tonight is dreamifesting. And this is one practice that I've discovered that is about, I mean, really, it's a practical approach to not just becoming fluent and having mastery in the realm of dreams, but being able to do something incredibly useful with it in our waking lives. I think sometimes we can become so spiritual, like spiritual from the neck up, that we just kind of float away, and it's like we become the light of the world, but we can't pay our light bill. So I feel like I've gone in that direction where I've been like, I don't care. This world is stupid. I'm gonna, be filled up with God, and I don't need to figure out any of that stuff. And it's like, no, you got to be in this world, not of it, but be here. So I feel like I've developed this way of being able to want to be very practical with the dream work, and in a way that it can show and help us deliver results in our waking lives. So that's a big part. I really want to talk about that. That's the intersection of both dreams and how to be fluent there. But I want to address the lucid aspect. So I don't consider myself a big lucid dreamer, although I've had my share and I love them. But I haven't felt pulled to be a teacher of lucid dreaming. What I teach, what I feel more urgent about, is addressing the people. Most people are not going to be lucid in their dreams. Maybe they'll have like an accidental one once in their life. That's going to be the typical experience. So I want to reach most people. And what everybody can do, and you don't have to have any special gift at lucid dreaming to do this, is to take a remembered dream that you wake up with, and while you're semi-awake in a meditative state, you re-engage with that dream through I call it the imagination. I borrowed that from Julia Cameron, where you could be on the bridge between between worlds, and you ask yourself, if I was lucid in this dream, what would I do? How would I complete this dream? How might I get the gift from this dream? And so you can, through a journal, you can write the story of what you would do if you were back in that dream, or you can draw a picture of it, or you can just imagine that the dream isn't over until you are completely empowered, or you take your empowerment up a notch. Like you can hang out with Jesus or an ascended master in your dream, but still not feel complete until you feel that deep resonance, until you feel like you really received the message. And maybe you woke up too quick. You don't have to feel bad that, oh no, I woke up, it was just a dream. Go back in. The dream is a parallel plane that's happening continuously. So by our mind directing our thoughts, we can dip back in and pick it up where it left off. In fact, I would say all you need is one good dream. If the people watching and or listening can think of one dream that they ever had, and this could be from childhood, this could have been yesterday, that was a high vibrational dream, like swimming with dolphins, flying, hanging out with an ascended master, making love to someone that you is like your greatest partner, whatever that is. If you just have one, all you need is one, that can become your meditation on a daily basis. And then you can grow that vibration that dream was a portal to. And that's kind of like your particular key that opens the door, that gets you in to that high vibe place. Different than anyone else, different than anything else you'll read in a book, but it's like your customized, custom tailored access to those heavenly realms. And all you need is one.
Oh, wow. Amazing. That's so fascinating. I
Yeah.
love the way that it's so practical and grounded.
I had one, this is just one little simple thing. But years ago, I had a dream where I was swimming with dolphins, and I was in Hawaii in my dream. Oh, so jealous. I love Hawaii so much. One dolphin appears, another dolphin appears, a few more dolphins appear, and I am, with every dolphin I see, it's like my ecstasy meter just keeps going up higher and higher, and I can't believe these dolphins are like surrounding me, and then like there's hundreds of them, and I just explode with joy. Next thing I know, I'm dipping into the water sideways, and I'm one of them, and we are off, and we're swimming at light speed together, and I'm aware that we are communicating silently, and we're like, when it's time to move and flow and go up and down, we're all in sync, and I'm in absolute ecstasy, so much so that I'm sobbing in my dream. I wake up to my pillow is drenched with tears because I was just so happy. So my contact lenses that I shouldn't have been sleeping in, but I did, were completely unusable the next day. So I had to go in and get new contacts, and those contacts didn't work on my eyes. And I eventually got my eyes tested. My eyes had improved overnight after having that dream. My eyesight, I had to get a prescription that was dialed back like a whole degree, that it hasn't gone back, and that's been years. So there's a practical application to these dreams, that they are meant to uplift us. And so I think about that dream on a regular basis, and I feel like it keeps lifting me up. So anyway, that's one of the things that we can do. That's just one out of a million examples.
There's a lot. So dreamifesting, tell us more about this.
Yeah, so everyone knows about manifesting, and not as many people, but some people know about womanifesting, where you're not so like macho about your manifesting, like I will have this and watch me go. When I was talking earlier about in my 20s, when I was just like on a mission and making stuff happen and kind of externally oriented, I would call that the manifesting aspect. The masculine part of me that was only concerned with results had taken over and kind of let go of the inner guidance. I'd say womanifesting is a little bit more being in the flow and just following the dance. Dreamifesting is somewhere that blends those things. Dreamifesting is about allowing your dreams to do the heavy lifting of your manifesting for you, so that we don't have to work so hard. So I have a whole process, and I know that we're going to talk about that later. I'm excited to share that in detail. But the basic essence is getting really clear. There's a process by which I help people become clear, because sometimes what you think you want is like the finger pointing to the stars or pointing to the moon. It's not the moon itself. It's like, so you want to get to what is that thing itself that you really want. You really want, like you might say, I want fame, I want fortune, but really what you want is freedom, that the freedom that that can give you. And you can get that now. And then you can still have those things, but without feeling so desperate. Or I want love, I want attention, but really what you want is connection and safety. So it's, you identify what you really want and you bring it into a dreamtime meditation. So it's like you're handing over, you're getting very clear about what you want in the waking aspect of you, handing over the baton to the dreaming aspect of you and saying very clearly, work on this for me and help expedite it like the dolphins do. Just make it happen. And then, and you fall asleep, you have a dream, you wake up in the morning with a remembered dream, and that you imagine that whatever piece of a dream you wake up with is a solution, is an answer, is a piece of the guidance that you integrate into your waking life. So it's like a dream sandwich that is delicious, that expedites the manifesting.
That's amazing. Now, what would you say? Because I go through phases. Like I went through an intense phase of dreaming. It's like a lot of dreams are coming through, and then for a long time, nothing. For a long time, nothing, and then sporadic. I'll have dreams that I remember sometimes long terms, and some of them are just really short clips that I remember. What can we do to get back into the realm of not only being in dream, but being able to have that recall in some sense?
Well, I think the first thing is to not judge it, to not judge one. Like sometimes we just happen to have more vivid dream recall. It's not about really having vivid dreams. I would say we vividly dream all the time. It's just about that recall. And I wouldn't judge it, because sometimes even during what we might consider a dream drought, some little dream will pop up. And if we're in the habit of recognizing every dream that comes down the pike as valid, then that little teeny speck of a dream can be a complete game changer. So it's really like to release judgment, because our normal ego that judges and evaluates things really doesn't know. We don't know. I know so many people whose lives have changed, like who are alive today because of a teeny little dream snippet that came out of the middle of a dream drought. So it'd be nice to wake up every morning with several deeply juicy remembered dreams and to feel so full every day. And I feel like our ego would feel really good about that. It would be nice, but it's not necessary in order to value from our dreams. All we have to do is on a regular basis have a habit of paying attention to whatever piece of a dream comes through, writing it down, no matter what. It's almost like just be a dutiful secretary. Don't make up the rules. Don't be smart about it. Just write it down. I can't even tell you how many times I myself, and I teach this, I've thought, no, I'm not going to write this one down. This is way too lame. And I write it down, and later I'm like, oh my God. Like we don't, our ego can't fathom it. It doesn't understand the genius of our dreams. It just isn't equipped. So we just, in order to short circuit that, we just write it down anyway, and then pay attention and then watch the synchronicities that open up. So, and I guess if we did want to do something to up level the dreams, we just need to get excited about them. We just need to, in some ways, as a sort of a shameless plug, but when people read books about dreams, some of my Chicken Soup for the Soul books people read, because every story, and they're short stories, but there's 101 stories in each of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, Dreams and Premonitions, Dreams and the Unexplainable. Each story gets you excited, like, oh my God, a dream just brought her the love of her life. The dream had her win the lottery. A dream had him like get the dream job. What? I want that. So it's like a little bit of dream FOMO before bed. Might get you like thinking about it more.
I've heard that drinking more water before you go to bed, and something, and that stimulates dreams also, and the dream call.
Yeah, that's good because it does get you up because you have to use the loo. And then when you're up, there's that, yeah, yeah, that's good. And yeah, yeah, that's good. Vitamin B6 is also good. Um,
Mhm.
anything with tryptophan, but there's,
Right.
yeah, my rule of thumb is I value my sleep so much is I want to do whatever I can to get as cozy and deep a good night's sleep. And it's okay if I only remember one or two dreams when I wake up in the morning, even if there's some dreams in the middle of the night that I miss. I think of it like that. One of the naturists, John Muir, said, if you pick up any leaf in the forest, it contains the entire forest. So I think
Mm,
about that with regards to dreams. So even if I just get one piece of a dream in the morning, I think that it contains the entire forest of all the dreams I had that night. So that's all.
mm.
I'm very practical about it. I don't want to,
I love
I
that.
feel like I've got work to do in the day. I don't want to spend all day having to think about the dreams and like dissecting them, all day long. I want people to be able to just have a simple practice of paying attention to dreams, even if it just takes 5 to 10 minutes in the morning, and then do your meditation, then do your yoga, then do all the things you want to do in the day. But if you don't give that first little morning window to your dreams, then poof, they'll they'll go.
Mhm. Yeah, makes
Kind of like
sense.
a
How
relationship.
important is it to know yeah, how important is it to know dream interpretation of symbols of things that are coming through for the dreams? Like a gold coffin or teeth falling out or the dolphins in the dreams or
Yeah,
things like that that are there's interpretations for, but is it important for us to be in the deconstruction of that, or is there something else that runs through?
I think there's something to be said about when we. I think when a friend of mine who was a therapist, who still is a therapist, used to say that every problem that anybody would go to therapy for was a result of being overly concrete in their thinking, overly black and white. And every solution is a function of thinking more symbolically with that more abstract part of the brain. So I think when we're feeling good, when we start to people when they're paying it when they're watching your show, they start getting into a higher vibe. We start naturally talking more symbolically. It starts to become the
Mhm.
language. A door opens and we start to, it sounds like kind of trippy, like, wow, it's like I'm on the clouds and I'm expanding beyond that. It's like we use images to describe what we're feeling because an image says 1,000 words. So it's really just a practical way of speaking. And we naturally do this. I always like to say that the language of symbol and dreams is our first language, all of us, no matter what region we were from. So really so I have done what a lot of people say is a no-no. Like I've written 2 dream dictionaries. And because and what I say at the beginning as a disclaimer is it's not like don't take my word as the holy grail on what your dreams mean, but let it be at least it's a crutch or it's an intermediary until you get a sense of what your own dream symbols mean. Because what happens is we have a dream and like the teeth falling out, or you said a golden, what did you say? A golden chariot
A
or
golden coffin or
a
something like that.
golden
Yeah, or a
coffin?
chariot.
Oh, I like a golden
Right.
coffin.
Yeah.
So we'll think to
Yeah.
ourselves with our rational mind that's looking at the dream in the cold light of morning, and we say that doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. So we'll discard it. So what a dream dictionary, like the 2 that I've written, can do is like, well, let me just check it out. Let me just see golden. Let me look up golden. Oh, golden tends to represent something from the heavens. That tends to represent something of high value. It's the ultimate mark of alchemy. Something that has been a base aspect of self has been transformed. Ooh, and it's a coffin. So it's like, maybe I'm honoring a part of myself that is dying, that is like a part of myself that is on its way out, but I'm honoring it with gold. So it's like there's a ceremony. Instead of just saying, get out of here, you're part of self that I don't like anymore, I'm giving it a proper burial so that it doesn't have to haunt me any longer. I can put this to rest in a beautiful way so I can move. So we just think about what those symbols kind of mean to us. And yes, if we can't do it on our own, then having a dream dictionary of sorts is helpful, just to start thinking, just to trigger that part of the mind that can think about, what do these things mean to me? So I have a formula for how to play with that. If I don't know if there's time for that, but
I think there is time for it. Let's get into it right now.
okay. Well, I say to, if you've got a few minutes in the morning and you've got a dream, especially a juicy one, you're like, what the heck is this? What is this about? I call it my saddle formula. Actually, I've got two that I have a newer one. I'll just give you both. Saddle formula stands for the dream symbol. You write down all the main dream symbols, the golden coffin and the teeth that fell out. And then the A is for your association. So before you consult a dream dictionary or a book of symbols, ask yourself, what does this symbolize to me? Like, for example, what's a golden coffin to you, John? Just off the top of your head, whether that's a dream, an actual thing you dreamt about or not. First thing that comes to
The
you.
golden coffin means something dying off, and again, that the wisdom from that gold for me is wisdom. It's alchemy. It's something of great value and honor. So something of wisdom dying off, and again, it's there's an honoring of that. It reminds me of the sarcophagus in Egypt, right?
Yeah.
With all this wisdom and stored.
Right. So it's almost like to not forget it. Because I think sometimes we're afraid of letting something go, because it's like we hold on to it because we don't want to forget the lessons. So we keep the whole story, when really, if we just put something in a place of honor, then we can move on and be free. So, I love that you just went there. That's great. Okay, so that's the A. That's your association. The DD is for a dream dictionary. So that's where you now go cross-reference and see if there's something else that triggers another aspect of your own insight, your own intuition. The L is where you ask yourself, what's going on in my life right now that would provoke such a dream as this? Either what's happening now in my life, what just happened, or what's around the corner for me. So usually our dreams are related to either what's just happened, something we're still grappling with, or something that's coming up. And I always like to say, our dreams never tell us what we already know. So it's like, oh yeah, I have a job interview, and but your dream is giving you insight about that is going to make. I just was on George Norrie, whose show is Beyond Belief, and he was talking about how. Do you know George Norrie and his show Coast to Coast?
I do.
It's a late night show. He was talking about how a dream before he interviewed for Coast to Coast all those years ago got him connected to the guy. It was like a long story, but because of the dream he had, he went into the interview and he was like, wait a minute, in my dream you were a little boy and I saw you. And anyway, they had this bond because of this dream, and it was like, you got the gig. So it's like, anyway, that was what was going on in his life. Your dream doesn't tell you what you already know. It gives you something additional. So that's the L. And then the E is what's the emotion or the energy. And that sometimes the energy is like, in the case of my dolphin dream, the energy is something to meditate on, to ride, and to expand. If it's an uncomfortable or difficult dream, then that energy is there to alchemize. Then this is then you know, this is an unfinished dream. I'm going to pick it up where it left off in my own imagination, in my work in the early morning hours, and put the ending to that dream. So that's saddle. I don't want to overwhelm. I have a shorter, sweeter version, but if there's time, I'll give you that one later.
There is time. Let's do it. Yeah, if you can, I'd love to hear it, because these tools are so valuable. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm constantly sorting for what is the most concise and compact way to play with dreams, because they can sometimes be so big and so daunting and so overwhelming, because they're not immediately obvious what they're telling us. So I try to make it simple so that people will be more excited about playing. So I call this the jet set. formula, because jet set makes you think like I'm going places and I don't have a lot of time. I want to just get there. Come on, bada bing, bada boom. And to think about having it be short and sweet. So the J stands for just the facts, where you just share just what happened. You don't go into a big long story about it. Just what's the facts, just the facts. And then the E is for what's the main energy of the dream, similar to saddle, like how did it feel. The T is for the title. Give your dream a title, like if it were a movie. Title, sometimes a subtitle, and sometimes the first thing that comes to your mind is telling. Like no 10 people will label a similar dream in the same way. The title is really revealing. And then the S stands for the standout symbols. So you pick like 3 of the symbols that are the most curious or the most vivid or the most painful or exciting, and you really drill into those. What do those symbols mean to you? And then you go into the next part of it. How the next part of it is the E. That's for how do you believe this dream is trying to enlighten you? So that sometimes takes a little bit of percolating. And then the T is for how are you going to take it to the streets? How are you going to take the dream wisdom and do something in this actual 3D world? Not just contemplate it, which is fine to contemplate, fine to meditate on it. But I feel like the dream really likes it. The dream maker, the dream spirit loves it when we pay attention to her and like do something physical, like go out and ride a bike or go out and look at coffins. I don't know, go out and like put your gold jewelry on if you had that dream, or you know, do something that honors the wisdom of the dream, because that I believe it closes the feedback loop, and it's one of the ways to keep the dreams juicy, because just like a person you're in a relationship with, they feel like you're paying attention to them, so they tend to keep revealing more.
That's wonderful. Now, with all the people that you work with, again, you've written amazing books, you're interviewed all over the place on major media outlets, and I'm sure it's on print as well. How have you seen people's lives change by applying these principles, by having this type of relationship that you're teaching with their dreams?
Wow, there's been so much. I feel like there's I think I just want to tell you this. Here's one example where it was me and a handful of people. So I was talking to this woman. This was before COVID, because I was out in the world somewhere, like at a gathering, and some woman knew that I was working on dreams, and somebody said, "You got to tell Kelly your dream." And it was a really, really like apocalyptic dream. She was terrified about her dream, and in the conversation about it, I told her, you know, consider that everything and everyone in your dream is an aspect of you. It's easier to imagine that if you're dreaming about angels, but it's harder when you're dreaming about things that are rougher around the edges. But I said, there's that saying, how do I survive the wilderness, become the wilderness? And there was something that sparked in her eye, like, oh, instead of running from these adverse energies, I need to like become this container. And I shared with her a dream that I had, I've had a series of dreams of running from wolves. So that Clarissa Pinkola Estes wrote a book called Women Who Run with the Wolves. I'm going to write a book called Women Who Run from the Wolves. I had so many dreams of like, they're like chasing after me. And but I was telling her about how after I don't know, the 10th dream, I was like, okay, enough. I can't, like, this is clearly, I've got an issue that I need to address. So I need to practice what I preach here. I need to come and focus. I need to do my fear formula, which is face it, embrace it, ace it, and replace it. So in my imagined waking state of coming back into the dreams, long story short, there was a whole bunch of wolves chasing after me. I imagined that I turned towards them. They sort of devoured me, but I re-emerged as this wolf woman. And the next scene was they're all standing alongside of me and they're like with me. And I'm this wolf woman and I am so powerful and so grounded and so like just a badass. And I can't even tell you how powerful I felt in that. So I was sharing this with this woman and she's becoming kind of wolf-like, and like we're kind of having this, oh my God, it's amazing to not run from it, to just let the gift come to you, as strangely wrapped as it is. And so what happened immediately after, we said goodbye, we hugged, and somebody came up to me and they said, "Hey, Wolf." And I'm like, "I'm Kelly." And they're like, "No, no, no, your name's Wolf. Remember from 20 years ago?" I was like, "My name has never been Wolf. That's," but he was absolutely certain that he knew me from some other place and my name was Wolf. I was like, what? So
Wow.
all I know is just thinking about that dream. And when I've shared it with some people that have had plaguing dreams, there's this alchemy that it's incredible to see this empowerment happen where you're not running. And then to see people take it into their lives. I know one woman who was dying of cancer who worked with a similar dream and is alive to tell the tale, and she's fine. I know several people that have battled cancer. Doesn't mean that everybody who battles cancer is we're not meant to live forever here, but I know many people that have done this dream alchemy formula who are healthier as a result of it and less afraid and more themselves. So I didn't know I was going to go down that rabbit hole, but here we are.
We love going down rabbit holes on this show. It's amazing because it always enlightens something. It's so wonderful.
That wolf
Kelly, I
hole,
want to take a few
exactly.
moments because that would feel
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. Running from your power and then becoming it. It's epic,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Jeez. So good. So good. Kelly, I want to go into your special offer and maybe we'll open up to some Q&A. I've got a question about
Great.
angels for you as well.
Oh, great.
That I think would be great. But let's go into your special offer. Y'all in the
Great.
chat box, April has typed in the link. Just click on it and it'll open up the special offer page so you can follow along as Kelly describes what you'll receive when you participate in this Dreamer Fest that's here for you to go deeper into it. And again, this is fascinating for me. And for me, dream state is so empowering. I am very much aware of the shift in my consciousness that occurred after having dream experiences. There was no doubt about it. There was another octave that was available. There was a confidence that arose. There's something that integrated that I had felt was waiting to be integrated. And the dream, it popped into dream in different ways, prophetic dreams, other things also, but bringing it in and grounding it in and how it shifted my life. That's why this is just so fascinating to me, because it's not this thing that exists outside of us. It is so here for us. And
Right.
Kelly, I believe, has the vernacular and the relationship and the ability to translate it so that we can apply it in our lives and work with this ally and have this intimacy within ourselves by embracing again the communication that's available. So y'all click on the special offer link in the chat box or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Kelly24, Kelly with 24 at the end of it, and it'll take you to that same page. And Kelly, if you would guide us through what everybody's going to receive by participating in this program with you.
So this is my Dream Manifesting program, and this is something that I have been cultivating for a long time, and I've been teaching it in different iterations, and I feel like it's minted into a very concise package. This actually was taken from a weekend workshop that I did, and I took the meditations and I took the some of the exercises and boiled it into this it's about an hour and a half, and it's got meditations and it's got kind of Q&A processes so that you will know the absolute best way the best way to bridge your waking life and your dreaming life so that you can manifest what it is you're really here to do. not just what your ego thinks you're here to do, but to go to that higher place that doesn't leave your ego out, but it's that higher part of you that really knows what you are up to, why you were born, what your destiny is. It's like going past the noise to that place of like, what am I doing here? Life, what do you want from me? How can I get in sync with that? And then dreams help me flesh out what's in the way and help me expedite the process of resonating with that. Sometimes I think there's that saying about how we're not so afraid of failure, but we're afraid of success. That's the bigger fear. And really, it's just a matter of vibration. Like if right now you, like somebody was going to give you this great opportunity or this great amount of money or this great thing, it might be like, yay, oh no, oh my God, I'm not worthy. I don't know what to do with it. I'm like there's this inadequacy when we think about what we really want. We want it, but we don't want it. What can happen when we prepare ourselves and let our dreams incubate us is that we can find our way in sync with the vibration of the thing that we're actually coded to do and to have, so that there's a match between where we're at in consciousness and where that thing, that opportunity, that relationship, that wealth, that whatever it is, there's a match. So our dreams are just an efficient way to help us do so much of that heavy lifting. I'm not a lazy person. Although, I don't know, if I can, there's like the hard way and then there's the simple way. I'd rather have the simpler way that is more fun and more juicy, more joyous, as opposed to having to work so hard. I believe what a shaman that I worked with said, that most humans spend so much time struggling in their waking life, when really, if we gave those struggles over to our dreaming mind and let our dreams work it out for us, we could actually have a lot more fun and have a lot more ease. And wow, when people just come to the door and dogs bark and like things just come to you. I think there's a delivery like as we speak happening. Go, Priya. Okay. But that's kind of like, wouldn't that be, oh, I think that's a neighbor. Come here, Priya. It's okay. You're a good girl. Okay, hang on. Come here. Come here, little miss. Come here. She wants to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Look at that.
Well,
Look at that. She's a good watchdog. Isn't she intimidating?
she's scary.
But you know, the point is there's the difficult way and there's the magical way. And to me, I feel like the dreamifesting formula helps to make it more joyous and efficient and fun. And
there's a richness to it, Kelly. There's like even colors that become alive. There's like these sensual experiences that start awakening within us when we have the capacity again to ask, when we remember to ask, remember to be, to integrate, to be in relationship with.
Right. There's so in one of the meditations, there's an asking, there's a whole process to contemplate a dream that you've had or a high place of consciousness that you've had. And really, like, the name of the game when it comes to manifesting, in my experience, is vibration. And sometimes our dreams will reveal to us a place of our power, and then we forget about the dream as if it was this memory that's kind of in an album somewhere. But it's like, no, you can unpack that and carry that with you, and then that can help to have you manifest. There was a dream I had, I don't know, earlier in the year, about these giants and it's kind of a long, wild dream, but I was given this giant house and these and I got the closet of these giants. I'm like, what am I going to do with these clothes? They're too big for me, and it's all too big. And I was like, oh, I'm meant to grow into these. so I meditated on that. And I feel like it's there. Our dreams are always helping us to more quickly, more gracefully grow and glow and step, like you're doing right now, John, just glowing,
Let
like
me see
in a
this.
more, that's amazing. You look good. So cool. The enlightened version of you is so beautiful. Oh my God, he's hot.
He's on fire, yes.
Fire. Exactly. But it's amazing how like our dream images are coded with just an, I love books and I love all the, the great teachers and avatars, but I think we have our own access to this higher wisdom. It's ours. We don't need an intermediary. Sometimes we have an intermediary just to trigger what we already know, but sometimes we just need somebody to hold the space for us to be able to access that wisdom. So mostly this Dreamifesting program is me holding space for you to access the wisdom that is already yours, so that you can go, oh, I knew that was there. I just needed a little space holding. That's it.
That's wonderful. Well, in the space holding, it's not it. It's so much. I share a process on how to bring your future into the now. And really the peak of that is getting into the emotional sensation, carrying it, feeling it in your body, embodying it. So by unlocking that key in dream state and recognizing it, because sometimes we don't even understand what it's supposed to feel like. It's a little foreign to us. If dream brings it to us and gives us that guidepost, it just lights up that field of potential in a way that we didn't quite have access to yet. And again, it's a vibrational tone that takes us on a fast track to that place of creation, where otherwise we'd be looking which gate we're supposed to cross. So it's amazing.
Exactly.
So what you're doing, there's, yeah.
Well, our logical, I always like to say that according to the American Hypnosis Association, our conscious mind is, and that's our logic, our rational thought, our reasoning, it's 12% of our mind's power at best. And our subconscious dreaming mind is 88% of our mind's power. And it speaks in those symbols. And when we can learn how to decode those symbols or be in the presence of those high voltage symbols, I always think about that movie Phenomenon. Did you ever see that movie?
Oh, with John Travolta. I love that movie. Yeah.
Where he gets struck by lightning, and it all of a sudden so much of his brain is accessed. And I feel like sometimes with these high voltage dreams, if we maintain a meditative access to them, that's our way of being able to just quicken that process and get to that luscious place where we're ourselves. We're not being somebody else. We're being who we came here to be, just getting to it more rapidly with more joy.
Amazing. I love the way that you share it and teach it and make it grounded and applicable, but so much fun. Also, the energy that you carry through it is just, it's like you want to participate. It's like, oh yes, Kelly's going to be there. I'm showing up. It's like, Kelly's at the party, I'm going. That's kind of like what this feels like as well. But again, so much richness to it. It's amazing. Y'all, it's $97. There's a 2 payment option on the special offer, and I hope you all take advantage of it. Again, the link is in the chat box, either at the very top or at the very bottom. Wherever you are in the chat box, you will find it without a doubt. Super simple to find, or type it in your web browser if you can't find it there. beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Kelly24 and take you to that same page. Kelly, what's the format that this particular program is set in? Are there recordings? Are they going to show up live? How are people going to receive the information?
So it's recorded, it's video and audio. And so there's a lot of meditation. So it's from a live class, and I've distilled it. So it's really kind of the shortcut. Instead of having to spend an entire weekend, I've given you the bouillon cube that contains the most juicy parts of it. And meditation, I know some people like to kind of go within. So it's not just auditory, it's also visual. My husband is a really amazing videographer, and he's got some beautiful music that he's composed that's original, that's gorgeous, that helps to take it to an even deeper place. So that's how you get it.
Epic. Oh, how
video
exciting. How
and audio.
exciting. I'm going to sign up for it
Yeah.
also and go through it because I love this world, and anywhere I can explore consciousness that way and ground it in, bring it in, embody it. I am all in. So epic, epic, epic. Kelly, I want to open up to Q&A if you're up for that, taking some questions from the
Of
audience.
course, I'd be so honored. Absolutely.
All right. So we're
Yeah.
going to open up to Q&A. If y'all want to raise your hand, just raise your hand and we'll go through the lineup here. You can type your question into the chat box as well. And as I start promoting people to participants, Kelly, I want to ask you about interpretations of, because I've had, and I know several people in our audience have, dreams where angels come in or ascended masters and all, and it feels like such a, this sublime connection. It feels so real. And
Right.
there's information that's being shared that's prophetic or psychic or
Yeah.
guidance specifically for us. How do you play with that? How do you play with the literal of what's happening, the dream interpretation, and how we walk it into awakened life and bridge it?
Can I do a quick little process with you to do this?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so let me just invite everyone to just take a moment. And if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, great. If you want to keep them open, that's fine too. I'm going to close mine. And I want you to just call to mind one of your most high powered dreams, one of the most high vibe dreams you can remember. So it might be a dream of an angel or angels or a special spirit animal. A lot of people are dreaming about spirit animals these days. Big animals are showing up. But I'm going to ask you to just, if you can, just lock in on one particular dream that you had. Go through, kind of sort through them all and land on one. And if you can, bring your attention to the place in that dream that felt the most acute, the most high voltage moment, that place of communion. Breathe and relax your body as you allow yourself to expand in the connection of what it felt like to be in communion with this beautiful soul, with this powerful spirit. Whether it was an animal or an angel or an archangel or an ancestor, lock in on that moment of the peak of this experience. Just let yourself breathe here and relax. And by the power of your focus and allowing your attention to laser in on this one moment, allow that to expand. Allow yourself to go even deeper into the specificity of this moment, the feeling vibration. Breathe and just let yourself feel that vibration intensify as if you could turn up the dial simultaneously as you melt with it, easy with it, as if you were floating in a beautiful bubble bath. This isn't scary, it's not too much. This is you being initiated and connected to the truth of who you are. This is more of the natural you than you may have realized. Intensify this connection. And just while you're here for a moment, because a dream isn't just located back in time when you had that dream, it's a parallel plane that carries and follows you throughout your life. So you can dip in and ask, what is this being? What is its message for me now, in this now? yourself be flooded with that wisdom, with that guidance, with that healing shift. And imagine that we're spending hours here floating, meditating, becoming drenched in this consciousness until it becomes ordinary, until it becomes the new ordinary. We go beyond the ordinary until that peak becomes a plateau. Now, this is just your regular set point. And from this, bring yourself back into your body now with this point of view washed through you, washed all around you. Now you can bring this energy gently, easily, groundedly into your current waking circumstances. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.
Kelly, thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And this will be on the replay also, so you'll be able to come back and get into the process. And wow, what a beautiful embodiment activation. Call it and bring it in. So wonderful.
I think dreams about angels and these higher beings require not so much interpretation as meditation, hanging out in that field, and then let the energy reveal what it wants us to know. And it's different for everyone. It's different every time. I think we can meditate on these moments every day, and we'll pick up something new, a new piece of guidance.
I want to get Q&A from y'all, but I have to ask this because I think it's really important, Kelly. How can we trust that information? Because we doubt so much. We want to give it away to something else or to some logic or somebody else's interpretation.
That's a great question. That's great. Yeah, I think there's probably nothing more important than finding our answers to that question. How do we know how do we trust ourselves? I think I borrowed this from Carl Jung, the great father of psychotherapy. He talked about how we can see ourselves like a wheel, and in the center of the wheel is our spirit self, our God self, and that center part of us is connected to infinity, connected to all the answers. And that's who we can trust. We don't need an intermediary, but we do need to, it's almost like the parent, the mother, the father aspect of us. And then all of the spokes in the wheel are sub-personalities. There's the aspects of us that are younger or wilder or edgier, maybe more survival based. But when our center becomes our circumference, I feel like that's when we can really drop in. That's when we can relax. That's when we can trust it. I don't know. I think that we're right to question where our sub-personalities take us when they just go rogue. Because sometimes they're really feeling intensity, but that might be just fear-based survival. But I think when we grow and empower the host, that center part of us, and when to me, the telltale sign of my guidance is when there's no adrenaline, when I'm just feeling the whoosh, when I'm feeling like my umbilical cord is connected, then even if with the guidance, like I was telling you, there's a new book I'm writing that's a little edgy, but it's coming from this place. So it's like, I'm trusting it, even though it might be controversial. It might get me into trouble. I don't know, but I trust it when it comes from that center place. So I feel like that's all we've got. That's all we've got. And the best anyone else, and the best I can do for anyone, this is why I love dream work, because I feel like I'm not I'm not the guru. Your dreams are. Your own subconscious mind, your own spirit is the guru. My job is to help to fan the flames of your ability to understand what's innate to you. And that, like, to hold that space, fan those flames, and then gently back off. And then until you don't need me anymore, until you're good. And then I'm like, yeah, rock on.
Amazing. Amazing. So good. Kelly, this is so wonderful. Let's get into some Q&A as I promised. So let's get to our first caller. Jesse, let's go to you. Let's get you to unmute, please.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi,
Thank
Jesse.
you so much for, hello. It's so nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you. It's so good to be able to see you too. This is such a cool format. I love it.
Yes, it is. I have a question, probably for both of you, whoever wants to answer. I've been experiencing a lot of multidimensionality, starting to really experience my multidimensionality. And I've had some dreams lately where it almost feels vibrationally like I'm meeting another soul aspect of myself, only sometimes feminine, sometimes a guru, sometimes I kind of wake up and I see almost like a figure floating above me sometimes. And so I'm kind of like, it feels vibrationally like it's me in another dimension. And so I'm just trying to understand that more. And I'm wondering if you could help me understand. Yeah.
I'd love to. John, do you want to go first or shall I?
Oh, please, you. I'm so curious as to what you're going to say.
Well, first of all, bravo to you, Jesse, for having done the work to have gotten you to the place where you're having this kind of shift and this kind of opening. So that just speaks volumes about you and your work, maybe over lifetimes, to get to such a place, and then to be able to articulate it so clearly. I think there's something about being in the physical that is a clue to how to ground this. Like, I was just talking to someone the other day that was saying when she gets overwhelmed, whether things are challenging or whether they're like too awesome to be able to handle, or like either extreme, she gets on her knees and like literally touches her forehead to the floor. Like there's something about, and then doing like sometimes even like physical movement that is like a dance of this, like putting it in the body, creating some kind of art, something that is a dreamifestation, a manifestation of this dreamy place, like putting it into form that can be grounding. And then also, it's kind of like the very first book I ever wrote came from such an expanded place that I thought I was just like, I barely could keep a toe on the planet. So I started just writing what was coming through to help me ground it. So partly to ground it, and partly so that I wouldn't forget it should I shift. I wanted to have it as a touchstone to come back to. And that became my first book, actually. And that's led to, I've written 11 books now at this point, and 4 oracle decks. And so the channel is open, and I find it an ecstatic way to play with that energy of like taking something really high and bringing it into form, and then kind of going back and forth. It's like, it's to live in heaven on earth is that practice. So that's my thought. John, I want to hear you.
So alchemizing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alchemizing and grounding. What about you, John?
Well, these types of dreams are epic. And again, we're integrating, if you will, disassociated energy soul aspects, right? So there's an integration process that's happening. And you're so right, Kelly. Congratulations on, Jesse, the work that you've done and how you've commoded and surrendered in vulnerability and in your strength to be open, have the capacity to be in alignment with the attunement to receive these parts of yourself. That's huge. That's also how you create your future. You're aligning and creating into the future. Now, these are gifts, but these are gifts that aren't meant to be completely unwrapped now. They keep giving. And so for me, when these aspects start coming in, it's notice kind of how you start responding to different situations, how you be in the world, how you're in relation to others. And you can find that it could be a month from now or a year from now or 10 years from now, where you look back and go, oh, wow, that part of me that awoke really affected how I'm showing up in this world. So it's this unfoldment of you, and allow it to be in wonder, but also in the grounding aspects. So as you experience the change, or as you experience a situation, and notice how maybe you're not reacting in a way that you did in the past, that was maybe from a place of scarcity, or from a place of disillusionment, or a place of fear, and you're in a more empowered state, that becomes part of your process of embodiment as well, recognizing, wait, I'm not the same like I was before. I don't feel abandoned. I don't feel betrayed. Like I'm not waiting for the shoe to drop. There's like something that's alchemizing within you that you get to witness within yourself in relationship to yourself. And what a wonderful gift to be in that process of self-intimacy and self-discovery and self-knowing, and then sharing it with other people.
Oh, wow. Thank you both so much. Those are the most beautiful.
Kelly, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I wanted to add a couple pieces.
So much
I
life.
loved everything that you just shared, John. I just ditto all of that. And I know sometimes for me, when there's kind of a pop, when there's an opening, it's almost like finding the place in me that is still more dense, and kind of taking some of that elixir and putting that medicine into that lower place, so all parts can kind of rise up. I'm a big fan of making sure that all aspects are on board, so that no one gets left behind. Because it seems like sometimes there's some parts that just move really fast and are really like, they're hip, they get it, and they want to keep going. But there's these denser, scared, still wounded aspects that are like not as trusting, and we don't want to leave them behind, because it's like there's a price to pay if we split off from ourselves. And I've known people that have done that. I've been on the verge of doing that myself, and it's like, nope, you got to go back and circle back and keep bringing everyone along on this journey. Then we're really lifting up. And I would say, inside of those moments, you can ask the question, and you probably do this, like, as the meditation session is completing, what is an action step? What is the next thing that I could do to ground this? And it might be very simple. It might be simply to meditate. It might be to write. It might be to teach a class. It might be to share this with a few people. When my first download came to me, I called that part of myself the goddess queen, that was taking care of the drama queen. It was like the drama queen to goddess queen. And I shared it with a few women, and they were like, oh my God, I want to learn about this too. And before I knew it, I had a group in my living room, and I was sharing every week what was coming through. And it was grounding, helpful. And that ended up becoming, a whole, and there's still women meeting. We're still meeting 25 years later.
Wow.
But you'll be guided. You'll be guided when you're in the middle of it. Just ask, and the answers are right there, and just kind of follow that flow. And even if it's strange.
Yeah. So it really is. I really am meeting my aspects of myself. I mean, it's really what it feels like. I mean, it's like, and it's almost a mixture between, like you mentioned last week sometime, John, about these beings working with you in your sleep. Like do you feel like them just like doing work in your etherical body? Like I'm having that experience too. And that's to slip in between and out of this dream, where I'm not really sure if it's a dream or if it's somebody floating in front of me in another dimension. Yeah, it's really powerful. And thank you so much for both of you and what you've given back to me. Thank you. It was wonderful.
Question. Thank you so much. It serves so many. So appreciate you coming.
I would take all
so
that.
Powerful. Thank you.
Oh, epic.
All the love. Yeah.
Yeah, you too. Kelly, what I find out also in these dreams is that we recover certain action taking ability. You mentioned it, but I wanted to give words to it as well. As we have relationship with those aspects that are coming in through the symbols or through direct experience, that seems like a multi-dimensional experience. There's something that's awakening where in certain circumstances, we may have been unknown or frozen or in a lot of doubt. There's some type of action taking ability that gets birthed through the integration into the consciousness from the subconscious or from the etheric or wherever you want to say that it comes from. Who cares? But it becomes alive. It becomes alive in us, and that's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's some orientation around it that helps. When, from my perspective, I notice that that overwhelm can sometimes be a sabotaging kind of thing. So I like to try to simplify it. And my perspective is, we are all angels. Like, we come from this realm that is so extraordinary to our human senses. It's ordinary given who we've been for millennia, forever. So when we flip that perspective, it's not so overwhelming. It's really just the normal course of things. We're meant to wake up. We're meant to remember that we are connected to the universe of love and wisdom and infinity. It's not so grand. It's not so bizarre. It's actually, of course, of course. And now is the time. Okay, so let that trickle in. It's just you waking up to your true nature. It's like that Michelangelo saying about how he created the sculpture of David. He just simply removed the excess marble that encased the masterpiece. So our spiritual work isn't about adding anything. It's about just brushing off the excess marble that that calcified us, that we put on because we were hurt when we were younger. We're just letting go. And these bright spots are coming through, like in the visual of you sitting in this place, John, is so perfect. It's like the light's just kind of bouncing off, and we don't have to teach you how to do that. That wasn't added unto you. It was just because you've done the work to remove what was in the way. So there's something very simple about the extraordinariness of this. It's very natural, supernatural.
Oh my God, so beautiful. All right, before I go to the next caller, I have to remind you of the special offer, Dream of Fest thing. And really, it's what you're talking about. This whole conversation is just, it's that and so much more. And again, do we have to struggle to get to where we're going to? And if we're choosing to, why?
Exactly. There's the choice. And I mean, there was one moment years ago that I've written about this in my book, It's All in Your Dreams, but where my husband and I were having a rough moment. And I was like, I'm going to dream of fest this. I'm done with this. I want a solution when I wake up, and give me a step. And then I said, nope, just fix it. So I just demanded that my dreams fix it. And in my dream, Dana, my husband, was a little boy playing with toys. And I was kind of his angel, looking over his shoulder at how precious and innocent he was. And there was something so, like, my perspective changed in the way I saw him. And everything shifted. When I woke up in the morning, he actually looked like that little boy. He was and it was like, so for whatever we were fighting about for a week or whatever that was, it was like gone in my dream. And I realized, wow, I shifted and he suddenly shifted, and it was simple. So we can just say, dreams, fix it, do it. Angels, dreaming, do it, get to this. This is the place that hurts, or this is the place I want to expand into, and good night. And then your job is to remember some part of the dream in the morning, just to complete the feedback loop. You don't have to. The dreams work on you whether you remember them or not. But when you do participate in that last little bit, it's a grounding piece of consciousness. It's like you get to own your mastery, as opposed to it just being this accidental thing that's happening in your blind spot. So you get to participate in the alchemy. And there's something really empowering about that.
And the consciousness you had to ask for the solution, not for the step, but for it to be revealed.
I kind of made a
There's a lot of
demand.
power in the ask. And it kind of showed up.
Well,
Yeah.
it certainly did. And I realized, yeah, the dreams want to, it's like, there's so much that wants to just love us and give us so much. It's really just us getting to a place where we're like, really? I can have this? Okay, bring it. And let my dreams help to get me to the place where I don't need to sabotage it. I can accept this good. I mean, sometimes we just need that little meditation so that we're conscious going into dreams, so that we can more deliberately hand over the baton.
Well, y'all learn how to hand over the baton and so much more of the special offer. The link's in the chat box. It's $97. It's a 2-payment option, or you can type in your web browser beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Kelly24. And of course, we'll send the replay link out a little bit later this evening. Watch for that. I take more calls, but we've gone so long tonight, y'all. But the processes, Kelly, that you've shared, amazing. Kelly, we'll have to have you on for a Q&A session, just to go in and just like going deeper. Would y'all like that? I'd love that. I'd love to be able to play in this field more. So we'll come back in and do some more.
I want to hear. Yeah, it would be a dream for me. Count me in. I'm 100% in.
Excellent. So we're going to do that. Yeah, so many of y'all that are on here. It's just, again, I'm so want to be on here with these calls, and just what you're showing, Kelly, is just so, it's my guidance of like what brings me the most joy, to go out and up as much as I can, and to bring it back in and ground it in and have it meet in the middle. And from that space, create. It's just, you speak my language. It's so good. And that's truly what I believe what we're doing here. It's totally what we're doing here. So super exciting. So
thank you, John.
Grateful.
What a joy to be with you. And thank you again so much for the honor of getting to connect with you and your high vibe tribe, this amazing BTO community. You guys are amazing. It just feels, I'm pinching myself, and I'm just so grateful. Thank you. And I'll come back whenever you want. I'm already here.
Fantastic. And yeah, next time, y'all, and Kelly, I will not be doing the light dance.
I like it though. It's not an accident. Seriously, it's on purpose. It's beautiful.
It always works out. Like the dream, it always works out in my favor for some reason. I may not notice it till later, but it always works out in my favor. And I'm saying that because that's a great mantra for y'all that I want to share with y'all as well. Kelly, you're amazing. Thank you. Such a blessing. And all of y'all on the call, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amazing, as Kelly says, and so much more. I love y'all, and I look forward to seeing you on the next call. Namaste.
Namaste. Sweet dreams.